Welcome to the Mound Visit podcast presented by Top 100 Sports. I'm your host, Casey Honigbaum, joined as always by my co-host. He's a 15-year Major League veteran and a former All-Star, Jason Grilli. Today we got a lot to discuss, but before we do that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch along with us on our Top 100 Sports Network YouTube channel. And also, feel free to hit us up on our social media channels at Top 100 Sportsnet. We got a lot to discuss. We took our bye week last week in the spirit of football and the football season, but we got a lot of baseball to talk on today's episode. So without further ado, we'll get right into it on this week's episode of Mound Visit.
Trenta.
30, baby.
We are on 30, baby.
That's right.
Used to be when you were a 30-30 guy. That was the big number, but we got a guy chasing 40-70 as we talked about. And what a way to open up. And I got to open up with Braves talk. Sorry, dude. I know you're a Mets fan.
That's all right.
Tough to swallow.
That's all right.
But they're the most amazing team in baseball, in my opinion. They're the team to beat. I was just down there, and I've played for tons of teams. You can see over my shoulder here the jerseys that some of them are there. That's the beginning of my career. But towards the end, the Atlanta Braves was a jersey I got to rock.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that a top-tier organization like them treats their alumni, okay, I wasn't Craig Kimbrell, I'm not Greg Maddux, but I sure as hell felt like it. And very grateful. They flew me and my son down, got me a car, put me up at the Omni, right in the Battery area. We had a room overlooking. I posted it on my Instagram, man. It was sick.
Nice.
It's so sick. It's Disneyland. I don't care if you're a Braves fan or not, right?
Yeah.
You got to go. And I got this hat. There's all stores, baseballism. They even treated me great. They're like, hey, man, take some free stuff. They let my son pick out some free gear. I bought some stuff, too. But this, I mean, how can a pitcher not have this hat, right?
It's
3
sick.
up, 3 down, right?
Hell yeah.
Domination of an inning right there. So I love this hat. I've been wearing the hell out of it lately. But Baseballism, what a great brand. We should have them as a sponsor on this show.
I agree. I would agree with that.
But yeah, man, the energy outside the ballpark, from the apartment living to the restaurants, clubs, bars, the dancers, the drums, the breakdancing. What else could I say? The fan shop. There's a movie theater. They thought of everything.
Man.
And then I found out later that they make more. You can invest. You can make more by investing in the Battery area and that whole financial, we're not talking stocks, whatever,
Sure.
but just stock to say they make more money off of that area and the sales and the revenue from that than they do from ticket sales.
Interesting.
Which, again, I was there when they played the Pirates, which had no bearing on why there should be a sellout. It's just because they encompassed Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama. People, you see the license plates from everywhere.
Yeah.
These people are coming to Disneyland. And the coolest thing, we're going to go back to logos,
Mm-hmm.
the hat, like their what do they call it? The City Connect logo.
Yeah.
For the Braves. They put the actual states of all the Braves that they represent, the Southeast, right? From Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, the states I've mentioned. And they put the City Connect inside the state. Like, imagine the state off the map and put it right here. And then they put the City Connect. I'm like, if you can't get people to unite of the patriotism towards the Braves, man, especially here. And then, of course, the infamous chop, dude. It was the lights go down, the way they do it, and everybody gets out their cell phones. I mean, it's intimidating if you're there rooting for the other team. It's crazy, man. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll try and put my bias aside for a second, but everything that I've heard about that ballpark, not only from you, but I've got a friend who lives, one of my good buddies from high school lives down in Atlanta, and he has had nothing but good things to say about the ballpark, the atmosphere, and then it doesn't help that the team is unbelievable, one of the best teams we've seen in the last couple of years. But it's interesting though, because they've been skidding a little bit lately, just a little bit. And the Baltimore Orioles, talk about another great baseball atmosphere. They're only 2 games behind them for the best record in baseball. So I just throw that out there just so we don't get too. I've got to take a shot real quick and then back to
go to a Mets. Hey, listen, go to a Mets Braves series there. I don't care if your Mets win or lose, dude. It is awesome to experience. Like I said, they're making this all experiential, right? It's sometimes it's not even about the game anymore. It's about riding the ride, the whole thing, spending money and eating good. It's amazing. They did an amazing job, and the kids were outside in the battered turf area. They're all playing wiffle ball and playing catch. I don't know how people don't have no teeth, dogs walking through there, balls whizzing by. But the spirit of it, man, it's like I said, it's Disney World for baseball. They did an amazing job. You got to go check it out, man.
It sounds awesome. It's a great way to kick off episode 30 of Mound Visit with Jason Grilli. I'm Casey Honigbaum. It's you mentioned it, episode number 30. We always have been trying to get a player to represent that number or a player that wore that number. How about Ken Griffey Jr., number 30? For the he wore number 30 for the Cincinnati Reds, so I figured it'd be a good homage to our not for the Mariners, but he wore number 30 with the Reds, an homage to our good pal Sean Casey, friend of the show.
Yes.
So he talked about him. If you haven't seen that episode, he had some pretty cool things to say about playing with Ken Griffey Jr. But yeah, I mean, lots to cover. We had, in the spirit of football, we had our bye week last week, so getting it out of the way early. But I wanted to ask you, this was actually something I was watching Monday Night Football. I know you're in Pittsburgh. Are you a Steelers fan? Do you have a football team?
I have to be now. I mean, I am black and gold through and through.
Okay.
It's the only city that we have black and gold for every Major League sports team. And I saw a crossover. I went to the Pirate game the other night against the Yankees on Saturday, this past Saturday, and with my sister, my brother-in-law, and a friend. And it was amazing to see, just like I said, the jerseys and the things, the crossover. They had a hockey jersey, but with Pittsburgh Pirates logos on it. I was like, dude, see, you can't really get the effect of that unless you know what Pittsburgh sports are. I mean, between I still call it Heinz Stadium and PNC Park, there's just tailgating going on. T-shirt shops and little stands and what have you going on in between there, man. It's a cool experience. The people around here love their teams. I just wish that we could have a winning one in the Pirates organization. I got to take a stab at my old employer there, but until ownership wants to win, really want to win, this town 10-year anniversary, which ironically, I'm trying to get a suite. I'm trying to talk to the alumni group there to give me a suite to use to invite some friends, families, business contacts. Because Cueto, I mapped it out. I'm hoping, I know he had some arm troubles, shoulder troubles, or whatever. He, on the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary of the wild card game where he dropped that ball, he could pitch potentially the last series, that last game.
No way.
Anniversary. So I'm hoping he's going to be in the ballpark. I'm hoping he's going to be on the mound. Not because I have anything against Johnny Cueto. That is a hard position to be in. But here for forevermore, a great career, what he's done, amazing pitcher to still be pitching. And I guarantee you, whether he's pitching or not, or in the bullpen or in the dugout, they're going to be chanting Cueto, But if he's on the mound, dude, can you imagine 10 years to the day? What are the chances? That's
do you think he would know? Do you think he would remember that?
You know what? If you can't remember that traumatic experience, right? Like I said, that's almost like Yankee stuff. Like if you're a Yankee, that's the stuff. But that's baseball to me.
Yeah.
I don't have too many of those crazy tales to be like, oh my God, I was there when this or this baseball lore-ish stuff, Field of Dream stuff. But that's
one of them.
Even as a fan, as a former player. To me, I'm going to be at that game because to me, I was upset that, some of it's on me. I was hoping to, got a busy life, busy schedule, every excuse and every reason in the book to call all my buddies. They're all busy. They're all scattered all over the planet now, and I would have loved to have all them up here
Mm-hmm.
in a suite, and just to have a little family reunion. But
Yeah.
I'll be there. And needless to say, it's a 3 o'clock game on October 1st. You should come, dude. You should come down to Pittsburgh. If I get this suite, maybe it's a Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Maybe come down. We checked the box, bro. Change of pace wings, check. We did a show on
PNC,
top of the dugout,
check.
outside, check.
Yep.
You haven't been to the stadium.
No. It's one of the ballparks that I haven't been to, and I've heard one of my buddies actually has he's got his tiers of ballparks, and PNC is in his A tier
It's the best
of
one.
yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
It's the best one because there's no other backdrop.
Yeah.
in
Oh my
baseball.
God, I know.
There's no
It's
other
beautiful.
backdrop. You see the Clemente Bridge. It almost looks fake. Like you're sitting there and like, holy crap, man. It's just there's this downtown area.
I know.
I mean, can you imagine if you dropped the Mets or the Yankees in downtown? It'd be nuts. You know,
Yeah.
but they don't do that because where would you park?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Where would you park?
That's a good point. Oh boy, yeah. I mean, it like we mentioned, there is a lot to cover here, and we'll talk some. I know you've got a couple topics that you wanted to touch on, baseball related, but sort of non-baseball related. But before we do that, we'll get the baseball topics out of the way first. We were talking pitchers, and I wanted to bring up Adam Wainwright getting his 200th win, and it made me think a little bit. I mean, obviously, unbelievable achievement. 200 wins in the major leagues is incredible, and I hate to harp on it. I don't even want to bring it up, but for me, it's always that Adam Wainwright curveball to Carlos Beltran in 06 to knock the Mets out will always be a little bit of a sore subject, but he's an incredible pitcher nonetheless. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the active pitchers in the majors right now with 200 wins. Verlander's got 200 wins. He's 41. Scherzer's got 200 wins. He's 40. Greinke has got 200 wins. He's 39. Wainwright's 39. He's got 200 wins. And then Clayton Kershaw, who is 35 years old, already has 200 wins. So it almost turned into me. It was like, wow, amazing accomplishment for Adam Wainwright. But dang, I feel like sometimes we forget just how freaking dominant Clayton Kershaw is still and has been for his entire career. I mean, he's got like 2 Hall of Fame careers wrapped up into one, and he's only 35 years old. I mean, you talk about Jacob deGrom. Clayton Kershaw is the same age as Jacob deGrom. Like, I feel like we don't think about that. But yeah, so that was just a
lot of bone chips. Listen, a lot of bone chips for every win right there, dude. Listen, that's an amazing feat. And again, it sounds derogatory, but I still think of guys that 200 wins is a lot of wins as a starting pitcher. But think of these guys at like 300. When you're in the 250 to 300 category, that to me blows my mind now. You know, it's the stats of yesteryear, right? The game is different now. It's played different. It's managed different. The care. It's like as the money and these salaries go up, it's almost like, wait, we gotta take care. I mean, guys like Nolan Ryan. Can you imagine what Maddox and Nolan Ryan would be making today, with the numbers that they put up, the complete games, strikeouts, shutouts, quality stuff, everything. That's some of it's measured, some of it's not. The barometer on measuring, through a paycheck and qualifying and justifying why they should get that kind of money. The industry demands it. It's there. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So not to take away from it, but 200 wins, man, on the cusp. We are numbers happy. We love to see guys chasing numbers, whether it's a benchmark for themselves. I felt bad for, speaking of which, flipping the script on numbers. Poor Andrew McCutchen, partially tearing his Achilles. He's sitting on that 299.
Man, I know.
I was pissed for him, man, because I've torn my Achilles and I felt that. I texted him and he said, if you need to talk about it, bro, I've been through it. I know. Yeah. I know what you got to deal with. So, I hope that he can get that one that he needs.
Me too.
Round it out. It's he's sitting on 299.
I know.
That's enough motivation to come back and get that one, man.
The good thing for McCutchen too is, I mean, not only does he have that motivation sitting on 299, come back, get one more, get that milestone, but he was like very productive this year. So I don't think that, and he also, not only on the stat sheet, but he's a leader in any clubhouse he steps into. So I think any team, whether it's the Pirates signing him up for another year, I think there are a lot of teams that are going to want him to come and be in their uniform next year, regardless of, that milestone or not. He's still a very, very, very good player. So, but you talked
to... no one swags a walk. No one swags a walk better than him.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll have to see if I get him on the show here one of these days, man. We've been letting these guys play, and this is a tough time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to bother some of these people, man, because August and September are the dog days. They're riding on adrenaline, and this is where you're taking care of your body is huge.
Absolutely.
At this stage of the game. But I tell you what, again, Acuna on the cusp of what he's doing. You just keep driving that nail down for that MVP, man.
Yeah.
He makes the game, and I saw it live. It looked like he was just a man amongst boys. He makes the game look so easy, and I was like really watching. And I was there an alumni weekend with Marquise Grissom was there. I didn't get to see Andrew Jones because we had some flight issues to get there, but that's a whole story in itself. It's just the story of my life. Everything's difficult, but I love talking with my son about, persistence pays off and how you go about it and getting there. So, we missed Andrew Jones, but I did go up in the booth. I saw Jeff Francoeur, an old teammate, while he was broadcasting. We went up to the booth and got to see him. So, it's just when you're around your guys again, and it was really cool for me to see and watch the game and watch these players, man. It's like we always tease, I guess, because when you get older, you feel like, how the hell did I do that? Was I that flexible? Could I throw 95? Was I able to steal that base like that? So Jeff Francoeur and I were laughing like, man, the older I get, the better I was.
Oh, man.
So, but speaking of incredible stuff, to a former Brave and fraternity brother, don't know him, but that game against Colorado and Colorado State, if you hadn't watched it, highlights Dion and his boys, and like his sons and his boys, the team. What a game! What he's doing, legendary legacy stuff.
This is a topic that transcends sports. It's not, I know this is a baseball show, but I mean, it's.
Well, he's a baseball player.
Well, yeah,
he says the hardest thing to do is hit a baseball.
I know, but even the topic itself, like what he's done for, I know what he's done for college football, but for college sports, for college athletes, for young athletes, the way that he's, leading by example, and I don't know, just the energy that he's brought to the game is incredible. And
well, the expectation he set, I mean, there's not many places I think that he could have gone where their front office and the alumni and the staff to say the certain things that he was saying to players like, we're here to do this.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you can go and get the hell out of here because this is the expectation that he set and the precedents that he set and the belief. I mean, he made these guys believe and they're out there doing their thing. So that I can only relate to. One person that did that for a team that I was on was the 2006 Detroit Tigers that Jimmy Leon took us to the World Series. And he did some of the same stuff. He would have some amazing speeches. He'd have us laughing, crying, ready to just run through a brick wall for him. And sometimes that's what it takes. Leadership is drawing on all those emotions and knowing your players. And Dion certainly has done the research and built such a path, man, that I think this week's game, I think they play Oregon, right? Oregon's next.
That's gonna be a tough one.
And then I don't know if I had it backwards, USC or
Oregon, USC, and then Arizona State. So they got to.
So can you imagine the TV ratings? And this is I'm kind of going down the path of the topics I wanted to touch upon today. The NIL stuff, because if you sit there and you look at his son's driving a $100,000, $200,000 car, whatever it is he deserving of that? I mean, look at all the money that's flooding in. Had they not been there, who's it go to? Whose pockets are being padded? And that's where this NIL stuff, amateur stuff is what Top 100 Sports and passing the baton. It's kind of what I'm doing with my second book, the NIL playbook. It's going to be the official one too, by the way.
Yeah, you brought it up, but I was going to ask. Tell us about, I don't know if the people know yet, but you've been working on a new book, and we want to hear about it.
So my second book is a pass the baton. Well, first one, Just My Game. I wrote my story, and that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that everybody else has to do it. It was just a love letter to my kids about not quitting, never giving up. Because I didn't. I just squeaked out 20 years of professional baseball somehow by not giving up and collecting as many jerseys as everybody was willing to give me. So the same thing with NIL. I got to go up there with my buddy who I shared it with him to help look over it and say, hey, man, I'm writing this book. I'm hoping to put it on Amazon. I don't know where to go with it. He goes, it's so crazy. Timing's everything. University of Pitt and some of the coaching staff, Tim O'Toole, one of the coaches at Pitt, basketball coaches. He was at Syracuse too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Been to the Change of Pace. We were talking about all that stuff.
There you go.
But I brought it to him, and he goes, this is the Bible. We've been talking about getting a class here. Long story short, University of Pitt is going to have an accredited class to teach NIL, and they're going to use my book as the textbook.
Look at that. All right. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So, yeah, man. So, it's not so much about making money as what I'm doing with Top 100 Sports. I want to pass the baton. I'm doing it for my son, doing it for these kids to be like, your name, your image and likeness, you should protect it.
Yeah.
It's everything, right? It's everything. You should own it. And yes, you play for the name on the front.
Yep.
But you also play for the one on the back. And that's what my favorite piece of memorabilia. I think I've shown it before in the past.
Oh, yeah.
That saying up there, another baseballism, right? The name on the front of the jersey represents who you play for. The name on the back of the jersey represents who raised you. Do them both justice. And these kids now have an opportunity, whether they're getting free food and doing a bartering deal. I got to go to this Pitt NIL task force is what they call it. And the athletic department at Pitt and the ACC, I mean, bro, I can't even tell you the money and the resources that athletes have there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everywhere. 20 years. I've been out of college 20 years. To see where these kids and how they're being treated, and deservingly so. Listen, they're not better than just your college student who's going there. But I'm sorry, the demands that are put on a Division I student athlete, and the money that's derived from that, and the patriotism, and you want to go to a school where your sports teams are great,
right?
Of
course, absolutely.
Why would you not feel that? I mean, that's the pride in where you go to school, the mascot and the alma mater songs and all that. So to see what Pitt's doing, and I'm hoping, my hope is that it doesn't just go to Pitt, that I'm going to be matriculating this through the ACC and so on and so forth, and get this even to the hands of the prime time here because of what's going on and protecting these kids.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of subject material and a lot of things to protect, and then just your name, image, and likeness, and just how to prepare yourself as a student athlete and the responsibilities now that are weighing heavily on these kids.
Yeah, it's incredible because even, and this isn't like not to pump myself up or anything, but like, I played at a Division III school.
Pump yourself up, bro.
No. But I played baseball at a Division III school, and the time commitment to play a collegiate sport is, it's a massive time commitment. And then
sacrifice too. You're not out there partying every Sunday
right.
and have the weekends off. You're traveling.
Yeah.
And you're studying on a bus maybe, or hopefully somebody wrote your term paper. Maybe GPT's a factor.
It wasn't a factor back when I was in school, even a couple of years ago. But it you don't have time to, you can't have a job during the season, stuff like that. It's just, you don't have time for that sort of thing. So, but then, it's multiplied by 100 when you're at a big, an SEC, ACC school, any of those Power 5 schools playing a collegiate sport. It's, it's ratcheted up so much, not only because the spotlight that's on you when you're performing, but also just, the amount of extra practice and all of that stuff that goes into it. yes,
It's a business, man. The
yeah,
NCAA, I'm so glad it finally, the glass is breaking
yeah,
and cracking because if you watch the Johnny Manziel documentary, I think we
yeah.
mentioned it
Oh yeah,
last time, or there's College Sports Inc. is another good one to watch. But these kids are very deserving of some money because they're the ones out there. They're the product.
yeah,
That's why tickets are sold, hot dogs are sold, memorabilia and apparel is sold.
yep,
It's all something that they should have. I'm hopeful that these kids, if they're making sizable amounts of income, that they put it away a little bit and maybe get it after, not try to be, star-studded, big shot on campus, so to speak.
right,
If you want to go out for a nice steak dinner, I mean, why not, right?
yeah, absolutely,
Surf and turf, you deserve it because, again, you beat up your body, you've worked hard, you made some sacrifices, and some of the enjoyment is that you get to do some of those things, and experiential things that I remember I couldn't go on spring break in college.
Mm-hmm.
You see MTV, right? These kids partying, going
Yeah.
here. I'm going, where you going for spring break? I'm like, spring break? We're going to play, man. That
Same
was
here.
our spring break,
Yep,
right?
yep,
You go for a week, and yeah, it might be in Florida or whatever if you're a northern school. It was a highlight to go to Florida
mm-hmm.
and play, some other colleges, northern colleges, trying to get in those games.
We went to California.
Ooh, wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow,
Oh yeah,
dang, dude.
yeah, yeah. My
Some
freshman
good
year,
alumni
but yeah,
there.
it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet.
All right.
Yeah.
But think about the probably hit you the reality of like traveling.
Oh
and
yeah.
trying to write a paper. Or, hey, what do you got? Or maybe you have to talk to your professor to be like, listen, I just need to see because I'm focused on
Help me out here.
another
Yeah.
C going to California. Yeah. But no, man, it's a crazy topic. We could talk for hours about NIL, where it's going. All the laws and all the discrepancies and opinions about should college athletes be paid. I'm like, well, yeah, it's almost $1 billion. It's $1 billion industry.
Oh yeah. Yes, it is.
And look at what, again, throwing it back to Dion. You think that the money that's filtering into Colorado right now and the kids that want to go there, and he's on prime time, and prime time's on prime time,
Yep.
and got his team as game that everybody in the nation's going to want to watch.
Yep.
I mean, I can't wait to see this game coming up, and that's the whole thing. That's the byproduct of saying there definitely should be money thrown at the athlete's way, even if it's your guy that's on the bench, third string or whatever. You're a part of that team.
Sure.
You're a part of that team, and you're a reason why everybody's there, and you should be the benefactor of that. No different, bro, than if you got called up as a rookie and you were there for 2 months of the season and you helped win some games down the stretch for a playoff contending team.
Yeah. Then then you
get
get a
the
World
players'
Series
share.
ring at the end. Yeah, or the players share
You get a
that
player
too.
share and a ring potentially. So I see it the same way, man. I say that obviously biased, non-biased.
Sure.
Athletes should have been paid. I wish I was in college now. 20 years ago, I would have loved to see because I love marketing. I love business. It's just the thing that's concerning is these kids need some help.
Sure.
Building a little bit of a team and an entourage around them. And I think the students, here's where the students can jump on and where people say, what was it like?
Yeah.
I said it's kind of like The Wizard of Oz meets Revenge of the Nerds, the two movies. Because I said, I mean, listen, I was a nerd too, bro. I loved school, and I was a kind of a geek in the sense that I loved doing my homework and papers and just being a good student. But to have people do experiential projects that are real to the life,
Yeah.
like you need a marketing guy, you need a video person to build them like a little sizzle reel to get that deal.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a kid in pre-law that needs to learn about contracts. Maybe he can negotiate something for this athlete. So those were all things that were brought up at the University of Pitt.
It's interesting.
This meeting. It was awesome, man. And hearing like a wrestler who went to the NIL summit, just topics and things of how they're handling their business and doing direct messages and telling brands like, hey, there was a girl who was running track and getting deals. A guy on the football team was getting a deal from Snickers, and I don't know if it was
There you go.
Snickers. Nike. I can't remember. Big
Yeah,
brands, man, and
either one, pretty good. Yeah.
taking side bets. And you've been in college. I mean, even if you got a $500 or something, I mean, that's a ton of money to you in
In
college.
college, are you
So,
kidding? Yeah, absolutely. That's meals for like 2 months, if not,
right,
if yeah,
right.
maybe more. So it's really interesting stuff. And I'm glad that it's cool that you're looking into that. And I mean, writing a book about it, it's pretty awesome. When can people find that book? Is it still in?
We're in the editing mode.
Okay.
We're bolstering a couple chapters. Chapter 3, chapter 9. Ironically, that's my number.
Yeah, look at that.
39.
Very nice.
We're bolstering that up, beefing it up a little bit more to go to print, and I'm getting some endorsements.
Nice.
Gary Sheffield and some of my agent, who's the COO. To write the preface forwards
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm getting people that understand what this means, what it means, and where it's transcending for these kids in the amateur circuit. So, yeah, it's very exciting to be a part of. It's very exciting. I never envisioned the path of where it's gone now, but my intent was always about the student athlete and helping them because I see things that are necessary. And a lot
That's
of kids,
great.
kids thought likeness, right? Name, image, and likeness. They thought likeness meant how many people like their posts, like likeness, like that. Like how many people like. That's why they don't understand like the likeness
Sure.
of your image is being used on a video game, right? Which
Right.
is one of the things that kind of opened up this whole can of worms
Yep.
legally. And they said, well, yeah, these kids should be paid. So there
Mm-hmm.
are student athletes that are very smart and exploited this whole thing, and I'm glad that it's here. And we'll probably be talking more about it, but very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Excited
cool.
to do so. Let's while we're on the topic of football real quick before we finish off with the episode with some baseball talk. I want to ask real quick cuz I know it was actually a question I wanted to ask you. We haven't talked since that the whole Aaron Rodgers injury, the Achilles injury, and there's been a lot
That
of,
hurt me, man, to watch.
I wanted to
felt that.
what is
That's
that
the way it felt.
rehab process like? Because from everything that I've heard, the Achilles injury in particular is like a brutal rehab process. But you were able to do that, so talk about what
Yeah.
that's like a little bit.
Well, tearing my quad was actually worse. I'd
Oh.
rather do an Achilles before I. That's how bad I've been injured, right? Showing my rap sheet. I tore my quad, my right quad, which having it completely detached, it was just dangling there, and I had to reattach my leg to my leg. So I feel for people who are soldiers and stuff that have prosthetics. But luckily, like I said, they were able to salvage. And they said I may not walk right again, is what the doctor told me. I said, "Excuse me, walk right?" I said, "You need to fix this. I got to pitch. I got diapers. I got things I got to pay for that I've already signed up for, and I need to go out there and pitch again." But the Achilles, that one was. It's on YouTube. My injury there it was something that was bothering me, and the doctor told me after they made me from the setup guy for Kimbrel, they traded him right at the beginning of the season. That made me the closer there in Atlanta, but they told me to get off it. They're like, "Dude, you need to stay off of it for a month or two." I'm like, "Month or two?" I said, "I had an incentive clause in my contract that if I got saves, so I got a chance to potentially double my salary just because of just fate had it. It would have been the most I've ever made in my career." And I was on pace to do that. And right before the All-Star break is when I tore it. Stupid me, I don't know if it would have changed things, but I cut off. I had the trainer wrap my ankle up, and I hated having tape on there. It just felt stiff, and I couldn't move. And so I cut it before I went out there in Denver because I had no circulation in my foot. But when it snapped, it just like made me go. The burning sensation for me was pretty profuse and prominent. And yeah, I just feel for when I see that happen. But the rehab process was 6 weeks in a hard cast. You couldn't move your foot, and just no feeling. The nerve endings, right? It just was like your foot goes to sleep. Anything goes to sleep, it drives you batshit crazy. So imagine that. What's the Mr. Deeds, the movie where what's his face? It's the comedian I'm thinking, Mr. Deeds, Adam Sandler.
Oh.
Right? they stick the pitchfork for the in the guy's foot, and he goes, "Nope, don't feel it. Can't feel a thing." Right? He was beating the hell out of his foot, and so I laugh because it feels like you got frostbite.
Oh,
It's just you got cold. You don't feel any nerve endings, and it takes a long time. I had to pick up like marbles with your toes, and put them in a tray. Like you take one out. It's very tedious stuff, and the atrophy that happens because it looks like you have no calf. Just
oh,
looks like the muscle looked like an alligator took a bite out of it. But doing the calf raise was extremely hard.
wow.
But it's come back. It's come back, not to where it was, but years of doing whatever.
Yeah.
It's being normal. It takes some time, but to actually work hard to get back and pitch, I did it in a year.
That's awesome.
So it's just, dude, surgery is not the end of it for me. I tell
Sure.
people, I go, if you have surgery, the technology and the prosthetics and the pins and these doctors, incredible what they can do for you. It doesn't stop though when you sit there and go, okay, now I'm just going to go get treatment or put the stim unit or the heat and the ice on it.
Yeah.
People get like depressed. You do go through a little bit of a depression through it, and you have to work through that to go, all right, the rehab is hard. You got to get through all these exercises in an hour or 2 hours and hardcore, especially if you're going to come back and try to be the one player you once was. Thankfully, I didn't have to run. I was never fast. That's why I was built for comfort, not speed. That's why I stood on the mound. And that's why we're having mound visits,
That's
bro,
right.
because I was not a person that could run very blazing speed fast. But yeah, the rehab is extensive. But when I feel for the guys, when I see it happen, it's almost like it jars a bad memory for me because
Yeah.
I feel it when I see it, and I saw it. I didn't watch the rest of the game because I was like, oh, dude, it gave me that. It hurt my stomach.
I can
For
imagine.
'em. So,
Yeah. Well,
and
it hurt.
Jet fans, I'm sure too, felt worse than I did.
It hurt. The game hurt my stomach the rest of for the rest of the time too. I'm a Bills fan, and they ended up losing that game, so hurt my stomach as well for a different reason. Obviously, I felt for Aaron Rodgers. It was terrible, but I thought of you because I knew that you had gone through that thing, and I was thinking about. I was going to text you, but I figured I'd just ask you on Mound Visit like we did here. But let's finish off in the spirit of Mound Visit with some baseball talk, as we should. And you talked about it when you mentioned Ronald Acuna Jr. and the history that he's chasing and solidifying most likely that MVP candidacy. And what I want to finish off with is the topic of the 2020, the 30-30, in Acuna's case, probably the 40-70. So I'm going to read you through some names here. There's two players right now who currently have authored 30-30 seasons for the 2023 season already. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's got 39 homers, 67 stolen bases. Julio Rodriguez has got 30 homers, 36 stolen bases. So those are the two members of the 30-30 club right now. And I say right now because Bobby Witt Jr. has got 29 home runs and 48 stolen bases, so he's probably going to join that club. Corbin Carroll's got 47 stolen bases. He's got 24 home runs, so he's most likely, there's a chance he could join that club as well if he cracks 6 more homers. There's also a member of the 40-20 club. Ohtani's got 44 home runs and 20 stolen bases. There's a player that is close to joining the 20-40 club, C.J. Abrams of the Nationals. He's got 18 homers, 42 stolen bases. So you look at all that, I mean, it's insane. And then you look at the 2020 season, which is an incredible feat in its own. 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. You look at the versatility of a player who's able to do both of those. Right now, as we stand, Francisco Lindor, Kyle Tucker, Fernando Tatis, Trey Turner, Anthony Volpe, Randy Arozarena, Cody Bellinger, Freddie Freeman, and Jose Ramirez. That's 9 players, who have already solidified a 2020 season for this year. Then you've got a few who are like 1 stolen base or 1 home run short, and there's 5 more of those. So when you look at the list of that, and we talked about coming into this season how, a lot of these new rules, the bigger bases, the pickoff moves, stuff like that, was all in an effort to bring more speed, more excitement, more energy to the game of baseball. I think looking at that list proves that it was successful.
happened.
You know what I mean? And I wanted to get your opinion on on all of that because, I wonder if I think the 30-30 season in particular, the 40-40 season, it hasn't been done since Alfonso Soriano.
Well, you know what makes it? Let me say
Yeah.
this. I'm going to your question, I think, and interrupt you.
Sure.
There's different eras,
Yeah.
right? And to compare what's going on, it's a different game. It's a different brand of baseball. So comparing like when Jose Canseco was the first 40-40 guy, and he did it on juice. Everybody knows that. Look at what this is now. Like, what would he have done if the bases were bigger? Like, you take that and go, what would he have done in this era? The balls are juiced. We know that. The balls are harder. Bats are harder. Smaller ballparks. So, it's across the board. I feel, in a sense, when we're comparing players and guys taking, stepping above where, somebody's in the slot where they're taking over. I'm going to throw a name out there, old timer, Al Kaline for the Tigers.
Oh, wow. That's a throwback. Yeah.
Right. He was great player, right? Unbelievable stats at the time. But then when you see the game going and evolving and you're pushing guys like that down on the list, are these players really getting better or are the variables, and I would like to say yes, they're becoming more athletic.
Yes.
But not to say that the players of yesteryear, myself included, I'm giving myself a little bit of a plug here, that I was an athlete too. But it's these guys are playing a different style, a different brand of baseball to make those things pop out. Yeah, they pop out, but see, they're competing against each other, and that's what we love, right? We love to talk about, wow, look what's going on. It distracts us from regular life. What a feat. Those are superhero things that we gravitate towards, and nonetheless, great feats because they are hard. But that just shows you that the game is evolving into, yes, getting back to some of those basics where the shift is out, or even I loved what happened, a play that I saw happen between when the Houston Astros, when Altuve moved out of the way and the shortstop comes over and he has a better arm. Why am I blanking out on the name for the Astros there? Pena comes over and because he has a better arm, there was a relay down from right field.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Switch. So, like I said, there's things that are happening in the game that just make sense. And to come up with that, Altuve humbly says, man, you got a better arm than me. On that throw.
Yeah.
Why aren't we using the guy that in that situation could make the play? It could save us and save us a game to win a game. These are the types of things I think that is even more so, and I think that's where the analytics come in.
Okay.
Right? To sit there and say, yeah, we have to have this guy in our lineup or this 2020 guy or this. Yeah. That's when you could build a team, right? Because those names, if you said, oh, man, take 9 of those guys and you put them on a team, speed and power, as a pitcher, that could give you some anxiety.
Right.
Because when I played the game, dude, the brand of baseball was we had to make a pitch. We had to hold the runner, right, I could hold a runner as long as I want. Mm-hmm. And we worked on different pickoff moves.
Yeah, of course.
Now it's almost like you don't have to worry. So the stolen base thing is a little bit skewed for me.
I was going to ask you, does it take away from the significance of a 2020 30-30 season?
It's almost like, okay, just concede the base. Like, right? It's almost like you have to concede the base. So it's like, okay, now I got to figure out a way to focus and make the pitch to get out of this inning. So it's a little bit something that, again, as a pitcher, a little bit of a touchy subject because I know I'm sure I'd love to be on those conversations with the guys. I know Max Scherzer has said stuff too about the clock and holding runners. I think it's a little bit silly, some of the stuff, but I get why they're trying to do it, and that's why we're seeing some of these numbers, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy time to be a baseball fan. We're almost towards the end of the regular season, so we'll talk more about these playoff races, which will be coming down to the wire for our next episode next week.
My Jays better get in there, man. The pitching staff's covering it, but the offense, as good as
gotta
it
pick
is,
it up.
They got to pick it up, man. We need some more runs, especially in Toronto. Where are we at? I got to see, again, the standings as of today.
It's
for the wild card.
about as neck and neck as it can get right now.
One game back.
Not only for the wild card, but I mean, there's some division races that are going to come down to the wire. And I think I think it's great. It's great for baseball. You know what I mean?
It is.
I think the fun part is, have you seen Davis Schneider on the Blue Jays? Their first baseman who came up and has had pretty much like the best start to a career that you can possibly have.
Yeah, man. He's a legend already, fan favorite. You know
that stash, man.
That stash and little guy. He's been a welcomed addition, surprise, and it seems like a great guy, and to have on the team. I've known him from just watching some of the interviews, and good people seemingly. So
yeah.
Again, I'm telling you what, man. When the taste of champagne starts to be poured as they start to clinch, and I know some of these teams have already done that, clinching some of these spots and getting the taste of champagne. It gets addicting, man. So every time that beer cart and that champagne cart gets put out in front of the middle of the clubhouse, and you get to spray it all over your teammates and be like, man, we are going to have some fun. Let's keep doing this. This party has to last for 11 more wins once you get in that dance.
Hell yeah.
And those 162 are practice for those 11 and most important games.
That's right.
It will see. I mean, is an injury going to be costly to drop some of these teams? Is a team going to go cold? You know, whose starfish gets tight in big situations? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, are you ready are they really prepared for this dance? And that's the story that's going to be told.
Yeah.
And speaking of our boy, your guy Jim Brewer, who's shifted, I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
Comedy-wise and whatnot, but if you look at some of the topics, well, we won't get into that. It's all my it's my off the mound, maybe,
that's right,
clubhouse talk.
We hope you enjoyed that episode of Mound Visit with Jason Grilli. Again, for me, your co-host Casey Honigbaum, we want to thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and we hope you subscribe to the show. You can do that on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch along with us on our YouTube channel, so subscribe there as well at Top 100 Sports Network on YouTube. And as always, you can hit us up on our social medias. All those are at Top 100 Sports Net. You can also hit Jason up as well at Grilled Cheese 39. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.